Let's check in on Donald Trump and his co-president, Elon Musk. Elon finally got some bad news, so we'll discuss that. Trump delivered remarks like the ones you're seeing on screen that turned out very bizarre, so we'll go through that. And then also look at a different event with the Japanese prime minister and just some DOGE-related questions that Trump was asked during the press conference. So before getting to the news about Elon, like I said, that finally is one win in sort of our category. First, let's look at Trump being asked by a Fox News reporter, Peter Doocy, a question that, given what's going on, people's lives being upended and payments being illegally cut off to Americans, millions being impacted by Elon Musk's legally tenuous power. What do you think the Fox reporter wants to ask Trump? What do you think of Elon Musk saying he loves you as much as any straight man could love another? While you watch, please do click the subscribe button if you appreciate this show and drop a comment and a like and all those good things too.
I have two on DOGE. Elon Musk said today, I love Donald Trump as much as a straight man can love another man. What does the First Lady think about that?
Oh, I think she'll be okay with it somehow.
What does the First Lady think? Or you could spend the very valuable time you have and questions that you have sitting in very few people getting to sit right there with the President of the United States as this unelected billionaire who bought his way into Trump's inner circle is wreaking havoc on our federal government. You could do a little bit more journalism. But no. One other clip from this event, then we'll move on. Here is Trump being asked about the individual who was working for DOGE who got fired because his wildly racist social media past came to light. And it wasn't a super long time ago, as sometimes these stories are. He's yet to apologize or say he regrets those statements, but Elon Musk and JD Vance are both advocating for him to be brought back. Trump gets asked about it. Here's his answer.
As part of this DOGE cost-cutting effort, one of the DOGE engineers was fired for some inappropriate posts. The vice president says, bring him back. What do you say?
I don't know about the particular thing, but if the vice president said that, did you say that? I'm with the vice president.
This is one of the major stories right now surrounding DOGE. Not that it's the most consequential, but that it's getting a lot of media attention. So the reason I bring this up is because whenever they try to convince us that no, Trump is intimately aware of all things DOGE, he's really the one calling the shots. Elon's not the real president in that sense, at least as it pertains to right now, what is the most impactful actions being taken by the executive branch being Elon's dismantling of different organizations. If Trump doesn't even know about that Elon's very public about and that a whole big news cycle was spent on, he's clearly not actually keeping up as much as he likes to pretend. Before getting to that other event that turned out bizarrely, here is the news that's a little bit of good news amid the bad media reports. Federal judge blocks Elon Musk's access to Treasury data after New York Attorney General Letitia James takes aim, I should say. And let's have Fox News report on this.
Mike, after DOGE took a flurry of actions this week, a federal judge is now blocking its access to the Treasury Department's payment and data systems. In a ruling issued early this morning, Judge Paul Engelmeyer said DOGE's access to the systems, which hold sensitive information like Social Security numbers and bank accounts, carries a risk of irreparable harm, especially if those systems were to be hacked.
He's finally lost some control for the time being, specifically losing control of the private data as a part of the Treasury Department. As you heard, a federal judge on Saturday blocked Elon Musk's DOGE from accessing private data with the Treasury Department. Musk's DOGE has been working to cut trillions in government funding, but choosing to do so in the most damaging way possible. It's interesting that, actually, let me not get into that now. It's so upsetting what we're going to talk about in just a second. So let me hold what I'm about to say for that. And his team of unelected officials have access to data that contains Social Security numbers and banking information. For the time being, Judge Paul Engelmeyer has said that this has to be halted, and then a hearing is scheduled. and that Musk and his team must destroy any and all copies of material downloaded from the Treasury Department's records and systems, if any. So losing control of this aspect of his initiative, which is a good move. We'll see how it ultimately turns out. Back to Trump's public remarks, we go to a different event, and whenever you're surrounded this much by yes men, such that you could go on rambles about the word groceries and not be told that comes off kind of weird, Mr. President, you know you have the wrong inner circle. Let me unmute this real quick.
Groceries. I used to use groceries a lot on the trail. A word, it's like sort of an old-fashioned word, groceries. But groceries is the word that's the most accurate word. And the price of groceries went through the roof. Bacon was levels like nobody's ever seen. You take a look at eggs today. I mean, the eggs are double, triple, quadruple. They're going through the roof. Now, there's some problems that may, a little outside problem with eggs, maybe. But, we inherited a mess. I hear.
Yeah, so this is not the only time he's done that. What is this about? Why won't anyone tell him, no, it's not a unique word. It's not old-fashioned. You didn't bring it back into vogue, as he asserts here.
I won on two things, the border, and more than immigration. They like to say immigration. I break it down more to the border, but I won on the border, and I won on groceries. It's a very simple word, groceries. Like almost, who uses the word? I started.
Literally, everyone, except for someone who had not a silver spoon, but a golden spoon up somewhere his whole life.
Using the word, the groceries, when you buy apples, when you buy bacon, when you buy eggs, they would double and triple the price over a short period of time. And I won an election based on that. We're going to bring those.
Imagine thinking that groceries. I started saying groceries. No one had said groceries. What does he think he's saying? I really don't know. I don't know. So it shouldn't come as a surprise. It shouldn't come as a surprise that he maybe wasn't as serious about and able to bring down grocery costs as MAGA thought. There are some going, wait, we talked about an example of this in a recent segment. Wait, I thought Trump was going to lower prices, but now actually he's taking steps that would raise prices while he's cutting crucial benefits from people. Wait, what? That's not. Yeah, well, there were a lot of reasons that I wish you would have heard us whenever we said this is not, if you want more affordable living, it's not Trump who you should vote for. But one of them, as a sort of last example, would be the fact that he didn't know that groceries is not a new, inventive, or out of relevance word. The fact that he's that out of touch, he's been having chefs cook for him for that long, or McDonald's picked up for him for that long, that he doesn't know how strange that sounds. That's a little indicator, not the most consequential one. His tariff proposals that he outlined on the campaign trail was a more impactful reason we should have known, and many of us did, that he wasn't going to be good for prices, but that is just a cherry on top. Then you have this.
We had gasoline at $1.84. We actually had it much lower than that for a little period of time, but we had it at $1.84. And then they took my policy and they really messed it up. And then they went back to my policy. They always said, well, we were drilling just as much. What they don't say is, if I were there, we would have been double or triple that number. But they basically took my policy because it was going through the roof. They said, we're really in trouble. So they went back to my policy as much as they could, but not all the way back. And the energy is what caused us the problem. They went up at the beginning, if you remember. Then they went back to try and bring it down. They had to harness that horse. But they went back, and it went up, and it went up really dramatically. And that caused everything else to go up. And energy goes up, and energy, when it comes down, we're going to bring a lot of things. So we're counting on you guys to supply and demand to bring that cost of energy down. You bring that down, and everything else is going to follow.
So his concerningly young vocabulary aside, it is just not true what he's saying. He likes to assert this, but as I say so often, the more you repeat a lie, doesn't make it any more true. When he talks about how gas prices, because of his incredible policies, were so low, he omits the fact that whenever he'll cite low gas prices, he's talking about when there was a complete demand collapse because we were all in our homes because of the pandemic. So there was no demand, and so the prices went to the floor. And because of that, and that causing oil companies to struggle, Trump made a deal, facilitated a deal with Saudi Arabia and Russia to promote a decrease in oil production so that the oil companies would be able to stabilize a little bit. And so then once demand shot back up pretty rapidly, not economically normally because it was just, and lockdowns are lifted, boom. And as demand shot through the roof, production had been decreased such that it took a while to catch back up, and that caused prices to go up. It's not just because of Trump, but a broader global market scenario that, as with so many things, was changed and negatively impacted by the pandemic. And so then for us to have ramped back up production of all sorts of different energy as fast as we did, actually you could describe as an achievement. And he baselessly says that, no, but if I had been president, we would have blah, 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 blah. Then this.
There was no reason to allow millions of criminals into our country, millions. People that were, I'd say 3 million, 4 million, 21 million people all told, but 3 million, 4 million criminals, many, many thousands and thousands of murderers, people that murdered people, killers, people that murdered 2 people, 3 people, and even 4 people in jail, in solitary confinement. They let them out of jails from all over the country, but really from all over the world. It was.
Yeah. He's about to go on to Venezuela. So he tells these lies, and he does so creating a pretext for really harmful policies. One was that a community that actually was really supportive of Donald Trump, Venezuelans in South Florida specifically, have now been, as they described it, betrayed because they had legal status. But then Trump saying that Venezuela sent all their criminals, and now Venezuela is a great place for these folks to live, and so we're going to revoke their legal status. And now, if they're caught up to by authorities, they will be deported back to a regime that will do terrible things to them for speaking out against that regime, of course, being Nicolas Maduro in Venezuela. So Trump says these things for a reason. It's to create a vibe and a pretext and a justification so that when he does the really hurtful, harmful, and betraying act of targeting now legal, lawful immigrants, his base is okay with it. A couple other things. Charlie Kirk posted about Donald Trump saying balanced budget on Truth Social, and Charlie Kirk said the Dems are going to lose their mind. The Democrats are going to... Remind me, who was the president who oversaw the last balanced budget? Oh, yeah, a Democrat. But additionally, the reason we're going to lose it is not because we don't want fiscal responsibility, but this is what I was wanting to mention earlier, which is that Elon Musk is cutting and trying to restrict and obtaining illegal access to do so, payments to folks and organizations, and shutting down an organization like USAID, now targeting the Department of Education, all in the name of cost saving, right? We need to balance out how much we're spending compared to how much we bring in, because the fact that we spend a lot more than we bring in tax revenue means we have that annual deficit adding to the national debt. And so that is what you think your argument is, right? Oh, that makes sense. Okay, well, even if tough things happen, we got to tighten the belt. But weird, because I just mentioned to you, there's the 2 components, the spending and the revenue. And it's you all right now that are advocating for a magnitude of revenue loss through a tax cut proposal that in so many ways, again, would benefit the very tip top, such that any of the work we're seeing Elon do would be crushed, even just in raw numbers, by how much you're going to add to the deficit because of the tax proposal. So then what are you going to do? Oh, now Elon has even more justification. Now we're going to go after Medicaid. Now we're going to, etc. That's what's happening, which is why we're quote unquote losing our mind. Because you say it's about wanting a balanced budget. You say it's about fiscal responsibility, but on one of the two components of fiscal responsibility, you're actually exacerbating the problem, creating even more justification, you think, to cut necessary benefits to people. Hey, how about this? Let's stop cutting taxes for wealthy folks. I'd love to go the other direction, but let's just stop cutting them for a second. Then we can talk. Because clearly you're completely a fraud, acting like this is in the interest of fiscal responsibility, when really you're making the problem worse while still justifying harmful, painful cuts to people's necessary benefits. Share your thoughts in the comments.